Well, the forecast of rain continues for Bengaluru. The pain might not be over yet. The waters have receded in the IT city in some parts to some extent. But let's just bring you the visual of the day to give you an idea of what really is happening in some parts of the city. With homes and properties flooded, people have decided to swim and are wading through waist-high waters. This is the picture of actually luxury villa. It's called the Applison Villa in Bengaluru. And it's really got an indoor swimming pool, but possibly not the way people would have thought of. Now, the question over the last few days has been what has gone wrong with the city. Today, we're talking about the hit to brand Bengaluru, because Bengaluru, of course, is IT city, the home of startups, the home of unicorns, and has some of the best minds in the country. To speak on this, I'm joined today by Mohandas Pai. He's a former director at Infosys, and I would say one of the prominent citizens of Bengaluru. Mr. Pai, thank you so much for speaking with us on Beyond the Headline. Are you concerned that once this spell of heavy rains passes, people will just forget about what has happened? Because that happens in Mumbai every year. There are a few bad days, everyone talks about it, and then it all ends. It's as if it never happened till it returns the next year round.
No, I think there is a deep concern that the chief minister and political leaders will come, make nice statements, allocate money, and people will forget it and go on till the next crisis hits. So we have requested the government to announce what they're going to do, give us a time frame for the actions that they will do, and make sure that they set up a committee under the additional chief secretary to monitor it along with civic society representatives and give a weekly report to the public to restore confidence in the government. Confidence in the government and trust in the government has been hurt very badly. Confidence in the government by citizens, by business, by MNCs and investors. They're all waiting to see how the government will react. Everybody understands that the flooding was a natural calamity, not man-made entirely, but the huge amount of water could not find an outlet out to the drainage in the Rajakaule, primarily because they were all blocked, they were illegal construction and government slept on it. And there has been large-scale corruption in building approvals and buildings being done. And the state of the roads is not very good. So they understand that. But they're waiting to see what action the government will take to prevent any recurrence. And yes, the fear that you said, that, government will make some nice statement, they'll meet everybody, calm them down and announce money and people will forget because they get busy, is the real fear that we have in Bangalore.
Yeah. What about the hit to the image of Bengaluru as India's Silicon Valley, as India's IT city? I mean, why should anyone invest their businesses there if infrastructure is so poor?
Tamanna, I want to put it on record. The companies on that particular road, and nearly 1 million young people working in technology on that road, is something any city in the world, any country in the world will be proud of.
Yeah.
And any city, any country, any head of government will make sure that all infrastructure is given. They'll showcase the rest of the world and be proud of it. In Bangalore, sadly, in Vidhan Sauda, some people seem to think that everybody is coming here because they want to come here. I mean, that's not correct. They have a responsibility to help create jobs for our young people and to give the right infrastructure because we pay all the taxes. They have to get jobs done. They sit in Vidhan Sauda and don't bother about all these areas. Because in their part of town, where I also reside, the infrastructure is pretty good. And it's old infrastructure, much of which is done by the British, not by these people. So I think the image of India has been hurt. Because people will say, in Modi's new India, why can't they manage good drains and good drainage?
Yeah.
You've seen what has happened. Why can't they manage corruption? There is no corruption in New Delhi. Prime Minister Modi has made sure there's no corruption. Why can't the state government make sure there's no corruption, there's rule of law? Is a failure of governance, high corruption, and the fact that officials at the ground level don't obey the dictates of the government. And we also fear the government decides that allocates money, the money will be eaten away. We want to see action on the ground. And I think it's a matter of deep concern for the image of India, for the image of Bangalore, image of Karnataka. all three together, and many big companies are watching what the government will do.
What about this blame game that has erupted, where the current government says this is the fault of previous governments? Do you think with that kind of an outlook, this damage that has been done can actually be reversed?
Well, I think it can be reversed. From what I know, the government is very clear. They want to send notices to 14, 15 of these encroachers and demolish a part of the building or enhance the drain to make sure that the drainage happens. Because we all know much of the building has come up in tank beds, in water body beds which have been breached. You can't reverse that. But at least the Raja Kalwe or the drainage channels can be expanded so that Sarangasha water can be drained out. They're all valleys, and they should be drained out to the next lower level. I think the government understand that. Yes, the government could be right in blaming, because these are all buildings constructed 8, 10, 12 years ago, not today or yesterday. So you can't blame the current chief minister, can't blame the current government, because they were not the corrupt elements who allowed all this with the earlier government. And that is the reason, that is the truth. But they cannot they cannot pass on responsibility for not taking action today. Today, they have to take action, remedy the situation, take action, enforce the rule of law. And I hope they do that with a vengeance. And they also have to make sure they sack some corrupt officials. You know that Prime Minister Modi has sacked corrupt officials in Delhi in the last 8 years, in many departments. I hope the Chief Minister of the state takes a firm stance and sacks many corrupt officials who are responsible for this. Because you have to send a message to the lower bureaucracy that this is not going to happen again, and it's not acceptable to anybody.
Absolutely. We don't want the situation to become an annual one like it is in many other cities of India. Thank you so much, Mohandas Pai, for joining us today on the show. The Bangalore story should not be one that ends just with what is happening today and tomorrow. It has to be one that we need to track and stay on. With that, that's all the time we have on this edition of Beyond the Headlines. Thank you so much.